Court is now in session. Today's case is about Letitia James, Letitia James. Okay. So since you want to be all up in Donald Trump's business, now we're about to be up in your business. How about that, huh? So your nosy ass, okay, been all up in Trump's finances, all up in his business. You've been worried about what he's been doing. Well, it's time to worry about what you've been doing. How about that? Okay. So please explain to the court, to the people, how you went from being worth $100,000 to being worth $15 million in 2023. That sounds like fraud to me.
Welcome back, warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Letitia James, we've got to talk about her. Now, I've done other videos about her getting caught up in fraud, but I have another mind-blowing piece of information. This just turns everything upside down on its head. You are not going to want to miss this video today about Letitia James, Big Tish. But before we get into it, don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you hit all notifications so that you never ever miss a video that I post. Now, let's get into it. So I'm just going to provide a little backstory if you are new to my channel and you may not be familiar with Big Tish, Letitia James. She is the New York Attorney General that was going after Donald Trump for mortgage fraud. But something has come up about Letitia James herself. You know, I mean, she has been repeatedly saying, you know, Donald Trump is not above the law. She said that Donald Trump inflated his assets in order to get better mortgage terms with banks. But if you know anything about banks, they have their own appraisers. So you can't just come up with an estimate out of the clear blue sky and say that your property is worth X amount of dollars and the bank goes along with it. They have their own appraisers and they determine what they will give you the money for and what terms. Both parties, if they agree, documents are signed. And according to everything I've seen on my end, there was no fraud as because the banks were paid on time with interest from Donald Trump. Okay, so that's that. But you know, she kept saying things like he's not above the law. No one is above the law. I'm just going to let you hear a little bit of this, and then we're going to go into Big Tish herself and her mind-boggling, explosive, and I've got the receipts. You are not going to want to miss not one bit of this, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of taste of Letitia James just in case you are new to my channel. Watch.
Payments to the state of New York and to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-vires. They have exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law, because Elon Musk, individuals at the Treasury, and the president of these United States is not above the law.
And so she said it's not the outcome that she wanted. Okay. And yeah, it's not the outcome that you wanted, but it's what we, the people, wanted. I believe it's what God wanted, because the people that have been coming after Donald Trump have been proven to be fraudulent themselves. Now, you already know that she went after Donald Trump for inflating his assets, getting better loan terms with banks. But what did she do? Big Tish, did you actually commit fraud? Now, before we get into the real mind-blowing piece of information that I have for you, this is crazy. Okay, you already know what it's about from the thumbnail, but let me just tell you. In the state of New York, a building is considered commercial if it has at least 5 units. So 5 or more units is going to be commercial, and it has a higher interest rate. But Big Tish, she only said that her unit had 4 apartments in it. So she got better loan terms, you know, lower interest rate, saved a ton of money. But the certificate of occupancy proves different. Here we have the certificate of occupancy, and it is dated 2001. I think that is January 26, 2001. And this is with Letitia James. And it's stating at the bottom right that this is a 5-unit family dwelling, 5 units. Okay, we had to block out some information here, but this is coming from the city of New York. And you can look all of this information up. The information is out there. I put the links in the description. You can look at it yourself. We're not making any of this up today. She also applied for a HAMP loan, which is for people who are having financial difficulty or hardships. But at the time, she was making over $126,000 a year, getting rental income, which puts her close to $200,000 or somewhere whereabout. And also at the time, and she still is, at the time, she was single with no children. Okay, single with no children. So how could she have a financial hardship? Okay, and according to things that I'm getting, this woman is worth millions of dollars as well. Millions of dollars. But I want you to hear a little bit about her from Terrence K. Williams, Cousin T's Pancakes.
Court is now in session. Today's case is about Letitia James, Latrasha James. Okay, so since you want to be all up in Donald Trump's business, now we're about to be up in your business. How about that, huh? So your nosy ass, okay, been all up in Trump's finances, all up in his business. You've been worried about what he's been doing. Well, it's time to worry about what you've been doing. How about that, okay? So please explain to the court, to the people, how you went from being worth $100,000 to being worth $15 million in 2023. That sounds like fraud to me. How do you jump from $100K to $15 million when you are the dumbest damn woman in the world?
Soros. Could that be why?
Sounds like fraud to me. What you been doing with the money, huh? Because you can't buy a damn jacket that fits. You got that tight-ass jacket on, and you've been committing fraud. What you doing with the money?
Okay, Cousin T, Terrence K. Williams, he's so funny. He did his Jasmine Crockett impressions as well with the clothespins for fingernails. In any event, this woman her net worth went up drastically in a very short amount of time. And, you know, I like to be very safe. Allegedly, she's worth tens of millions of dollars. Okay, now this is very interesting. When you talk about you're pointing the finger at someone else who committed fraud. Now, we already talked about the buildings that she lied on with the certificate of occupancy, proving that it has 5 units. She always applied for loans saying that this only has 4 units, okay, which gets you a better interest rate, which saves you a lot of money, and that's not true. But something else came up. Oh my gosh, y'all, I got to show it to you right now. We're going to pause for a moment for a word from Augusta Precious Metals. Gold has historically maintained value in times of inflation and market uncertainty. During certain economic shifts, some investors have considered gold as part of their retirement strategy. A gold IRA allows people to hold physical gold in their retirement accounts, which is something more retirees are exploring. With Augusta Precious Metals, it is an A+ rated company with a Better Business Bureau. Learn about how thousands of Americans are securing their retirement savings with Augusta Precious Metals. Want to learn more? There's a free guide linked below that explains everything you need to know about gold IRAs. Check out the free resource in the description. It breaks this down step by step. Be on your way to a more secure retirement with Augusta Precious Metals. This is mortgage fraud alert. Did Letitia James marry her father? Well. Okay, I'm just going to read you this. My recent revelations in the Gateway Pundit demonstrated that New York Attorney General Letitia James obtained a federal government HAMP loan in 2011 to refinance her apartment building based on false unit information and a highly questionable hardship claim. In her loan documents, James claimed her multifamily apartment building at Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn had only 4 units, even though the official certificate of occupancy indicates 5 apartments. This may seem like a minor point, but James's false claim helped her obtain a 2.7% government-backed hemp loan unavailable to landlords. I repeat, this was unavailable to landlords with more than 4 apartment units in a given building. James also obtained or claimed rather a financial hardship to qualify for the loan despite an income of over $126,390 in 2011. Also, there seems to be a pattern of possible mortgage fraud in regard to Letitia James. New questions have now arisen about a home Letitia James purchased with her father, Robert James. In the spring of 1983, Letitia James was 24 and living in Brooklyn with her parents. She had graduated from college in 1981. She would not begin law school at Howard University in Washington, D.C. until the fall of 1984. According to New York City Department of Finance records, on May 20th, 1983, Letitia James and her father, Robert James, took out a real estate loan from Cadillac Funding Limited for $30,300 as, quote, husband and wife. For the record, Letitia James's mother is Nellie James. Okay, I am just going to highlight this part right here. I'm going to repeat it for you again. On May 20th, 1983, Letitia James and her father, Robert James, took out a real estate loan from Cadillac Funding for $30,300 as husband and wife. Now, his wife's name is Nellie James, and you're saying, well, Linda B., how do you know that's true? Well, because we have the receipts. Okay, and this information is coming by way of the Gateway Pundit. I will put all the links in the description, but this is the certificate right here. It's the mortgage. And it states this mortgage made the 20th day of May in 1983 between Robert James and Letitia James, his wife. It states right here with this mortgage document, this mortgage made the 20th day of May, 1983 between Robert James and Letitia James, his wife. Lord have mercy. And it is, yes, it states it very clearly. This again was May 20th of 1983. And it says that it was made between them and Cadillac Funding Limited. And the company, I'm not sure if they're still located there. At the time, was located at 1 Old Country Road, Box 34, Carl Place, New York. Okay, and this is the document right here. But what remains of the most importance is, why does it say Robert James and Letitia James, his wife? And you're saying, well, maybe she was married to a Robert James. Let me just point something out to you, okay? I just looked up, Google did a Wikipedia search. It comes up, Letitia James, Attorney General of New York. They need a better picture of her than that. Over to the right, it gives the overview. And it says she was born in, her age and born in Brooklyn, New York. And she's the current Attorney General of New York since 2019. Her education, her party is Demon Rat. But look at her parents. Her parents are Nellie James and Robert James. Now, Robert James is the name that is in that document, that mortgage document that I just showed you. So now let me just back up. Linda B., what are you saying? Well, what I am saying, I don't believe she married her father. Okay, I don't believe that. I think that they just fraudulently put down that they were husband and wife. I think this was just another evidence of fraud. She didn't marry her father. I don't believe that. I just believe they did that for the loan purposes. Maybe, you got better loans for being married. So just put her dad's name down there. And maybe, I'm like, don't they have to show proof of marriage or something? This is insanity to me. Okay, this is absolute insanity. And this is what she is doing or has done and going after the president. where she has all these skeletons in her closet. Big Tish, did you never think that it was going to come around, that you reap what you sow? Because you either married your father, which I don't think that you did. I think it was just put down for fraudulent reasons. What other reason could it be than to get better loan terms? So you see that Big Tish, Letitia James, has committed mortgage fraud. Now, of course, as we stated, I don't believe she married her father. I think they misrepresented themselves. And this is called false misrepresentation. And it is better known as mortgage fraud. And people do it for better terms. But this could lead to lengthy imprisonment and fines. So I just looked this up with a quick search here on Google. It states that New York mortgage fraud can lead to severe penalties, including lengthy prison sentences up to 25 years for first degree offenses, substantial fines, and potential revocation of professional licenses for those in related fields. Now, a more detailed breakdown: felony charges. Mortgage fraud in New York is almost always prosecuted as a felony, with the severity of the charges and penalties depending on the amount of money involved and the nature of the fraud. So residential mortgage fraud in the first degree, and this is a Class B felony punishable by a minimum of 1 to 3 years in prison and a maximum of 8 1/3 to 25 years in prison. Residential mortgage fraud in the second degree. This is a Class C felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison. And it just goes on to state more and more information, so you can just easily look that up. So, Letitia James, you and your father, it looks like you falsified documents, mortgage fraud, misrepresentation. You are looking at penalties and prison time. And it says it depends on the nature of the offense and the amount. So that was for $30,300. That was some years ago. Okay. So this is what just boggles the mind. This is what boggles the mind. This woman misrepresented herself. This is like the beginning of her time, her years in mortgage fraud. And she's going after President Trump for the same thing. She was going after him. Okay, all these folks need to be locked up. Okay, she did these crimes herself and wanted to make it a big deal and misrepresent it to the public. And people who don't like Donald Trump is going to be like, see, he's in trouble. He did this and he did that. No, he did not. She did. And the mainstream media is not going to show any of this. So you guys let me know what you think about all this information. It is mind-blowing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smash like, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications so that you never, ever miss a video that I post. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.